All right. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Think the people can hear me. See if that people can see me. All right. We got audio. We got visual. Welcome, everybody. We are here live. West Connect is back, making its much needed return to have the kind of conversations that I'd like to have here in the West region. I'm your host, NicoTV, the voice of the West, all that good stuff. Today, we're here to have a very, very good and detailed conversation. Talent development has been the subject of conversation recently, and I figured what better way than to actually get those who are in the authoritative and have the responsibility to actually develop battle rappers to make sure that they get to where they're trying to get to. This is the League Owner Edition. This will be a series. And today we're starting off in San Diego. We are starting off furthest south you can get in California. First up, I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves. We have representing Shots Fired, K Phil.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. K Phil. Shots Fired San Diego. You already know. Hit up Griffin, cop a hoodie. We started Shots Fired in San Diego 10 years ago. You may have seen me on The Riot. You may have seen me on URL. You may have seen me on Westworld. You may have seen me on Shots Fired. You feel me?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the man who has brought the rooftop back. He's brought the rooftop back in battle rap exclusively on the roof. News, talk to the people.
It's your boy Bad Newz Brown TV, aka Rooftop News. I am the owner of the Rooftop series platform on Rooftop News TV on YouTube, as well as the booking agent for Cut It Roll It Smoke It CRS Battle League out in San Diego. I got started in battle rap like 3 years ago. I came onto the scene, battled, was also the media chief at Shots Fired for a while. That helped me get started with some of the things you see me doing today. And yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So definitely first and foremost, I appreciate you guys taking the time. I see we got the little one, you know what I'm saying, that's ready to talk about West battle rap as well.
She's ready.
You know
She's ready. I had her in the bumbo, but she was getting antsy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, we're gonna get into this conversation about talent development. So to start, I figured I'd just go ahead and read the actual definition. I went on Google. You know, a lot of.
Oh, we lost Nico.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute. Can y'all hear me now?
You're back. You're back. You're back.
Oh, they ain't gonna let me go back and forth. Ah, that's crazy. Ah, man.
It's all right. You're gonna read the definition of talent development.
Yeah, I want to try to see if I can get off the screen to go read it, but it's not gonna let me do it. So, pretty much talent development. Let me take one more quick peek so I can just memorize it real quick. Y'all can hear me still?
Yep.
Nope. Now you out. Now you're gone.
Basically, because it's not gonna let me sit there. But basically, talent development is an organization's ability to identify with their employees, or in this case, a league owner's ability to identify a battle rapper's aptitude, or basically their potential, where they're trying to go, what they are trying to accomplish, and how they can facilitate that improvement and development to get them to those goals, to benefit that person's individual career as well as their development impacting the progress of the league itself. So that's basically a rough draft, kind of that. But for you guys, and I'll start with K Phil, man. What is talent development to you as it pertains to battle rap?
Yeah. So I think of talent development as sort of having two different branches to it. The first branch is on like the battler level, right? Because a battler has a specific level of talent and they want to develop their skill set, their level of talent, right? So one example could be, you know, when somebody has their battle and they come up to you afterwards and they say, "Hey, what do you think? You know, what could I have done better?" Right? You let them know in their next battle they may or may not do better, and then you sort of give them matchups that correlate from there. But from a wider perspective, right? Talent development is creating talent. So being willing to take somebody who's never battled before, right? Adding battlers to the ecosystem, right? Creating a roster, you know. I think I so that's the other aspect of talent development. Um, and I like what you brought up because for when you think about it on the battler level, well, like what do they want? You know, what does each battler want? Some battlers want to make it to URL. Some battlers just want to not hate themselves. Some battlers want to get sober. Some battlers want a sense of community. You know, so everybody wants something different. Um, and each league or platform wants something different as well. So the more you drill down to it, it gets very very specific.
Absolutely, absolutely. News, you're a little newer to the scene. For you and what you've seen so far, what is talent development in battle rap? What does that mean to you?
Talent development to me means putting, as a booker, I'm going to look at it through the eyes of what I am. A booker, because I'm a booking agent for CRS as well as my own, right? So putting talent in positions to separate themselves from their peers by matchmaking. I think that's one thing. And then I also say, like, teaching them the right matchups to take based on where they're trying to go. Like Phil was saying, every battler has a different reason that they battle rap, and I think it's important that you figure out what that is, because you can sometimes try to push a guy to a place that he's not really trying to go, right? Um, some guys are doing this as an outlet of positivity, right? As an outlet or of artistry, we'll say, right? Um, and not every guy's goal is to make it to the main stage. They just want to be able to perform great and leave something great on YouTube as a piece of their life's work. You know what I mean? So talent development to me is finding out where the talent is trying to go and what their goals are, and then try to put them in the best position for them to maximize that. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely. So, with that, just starting from that baseline, as a booker, because you're saying you book for not even just your own platform and league and rooftop series, also CRS. For you, do you feel like, because you are actually a new league as well, do you feel like the inclusion of so many new leagues in the West, do you think it's adding to the development of battle rappers, or do you feel like it's taking away from the
I think
development?
I think it's one of those things where you got to give it like a couple events when a new league comes out to see how they're operating, right? Because I get there's a lot of talk where it's like, oh, we only need one league or maybe two or three leagues and we wouldn't have some of the issues we have. I think you're always going to have people who want to try their hand at being promoters. I think it is negative if it's done wrong, right? Like if you're running a league that's roughshod and you're not, you know, you're just throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks, and none of the matchups make sense, right? No guy's giving another guy a shot. Both guys aren't at the same level trying to create separation. It's not two headliners who already have, established brands going at one another. You know what I mean? Because that brings in the views. You see what I'm saying? Like if you're doing it the right way, then you're good. But I think if you're just doing it just to do it, and there's really no culture behind what you're doing, um, then I think it can have a negative effect. Because one of the things is too, like you get a new guy on the wrong platform, and that can sour their taste about wanting to do this. Whereas if they had just been carried correctly from the jump by somebody who knows how to put together an event, knows how to get an event to flow from battle to battle, knows how to control their crowd from getting too rowdy, knows how to create an atmosphere in between battles where people are still able to have fun and grab food and drinks, and you know what I mean. all that extra entertainment outside of battle rap. You know, maybe who's there introducing people to each other who might not know each other. These events are, the more events I went to, the more I realized it's a little bit bigger than just booking rappers. You have to book an atmosphere as well.
No, absolutely. K Phil, you've been here, like you said, shots fired 10 years, which, you know, I remember, like I said, I've been watching since the beginning. I've seen where you guys have been, the type of battle rappers that you booked in the beginning to booking even the biggest names. I remember one time you guys had Disaster book, you know what I'm saying? Danny Myers, Geechee
Yeah, we
Gotti, The
did.
Source. Like you guys have had a lot of, you know what I'm saying, premium booking as well as grassroots booking. For you, do you feel like the inclusion of so many new leagues in the last few years, do you feel like it's adding to the West in the development, or you feel like it takes away from development?
I think it adds to it. You know, just the more the merrier. And especially with us, you know, we went through a period of time where we weren't having events as often as we would have liked to, you know. I think there was one year we might have done 2, maybe 3 events throughout the whole year. We've done more than that just this year already, and it's only May. So, you know, we don't always have the ability to stay as consistent as we would like to, right? So when Casual Conflicts comes back up out the shadows and they start booking my guys, that makes me happy, right? When people I know can go on Rooftop, that makes me happy. When they can go on iEvolve, when they can go on on Saturday there's a platform/league throwing an event in Arizona. We have shots fired talent on that card, right?
Right.
And so just the more leagues that are out there, the more opportunities that the artists that we're trying to develop simply have to showcase what they got. I definitely hear what News is saying around not everybody operates the same, you know, and some people don't do good business, right?
Right.
That's sort of just the nature of the beast. You know, you go into any industry, there's people who do good business, there's people who don't do good business, right?
Absolutely.
So they gotta learn how to deal with that. And particularly if the league does do good business, then that's how my guys eventually get a return on their investment, you know, where they're getting paid $300 in a flight to go do a battle that I just would have never thought to even book, you know. So I think the more the merrier.
Absolutely, absolutely. I heard that. So from the league owner side, right? For you, if you just let's say it's a pie chart, right? And you had to say, okay, I'm accountable for this much of the development. The battle rapper is responsible for this. For you as the league owner, how much do you feel like is on your end to make sure that they're able to maximize the opportunity when booked on your league?
Maximize opportunities booked on like shots fired for me.
Yeah, like when you like on your end, like how much of the responsibility for development is on you, and then how much do you feel like is in the battle rapper to be able to maximize with the opportunity you provide?
I think at most it's 1/3 on shots fired. You know, at most. Especially if we paid, you know, if we paid money, if we paid Emerson Kennedy to come battle you, and you don't lose your fucking mind, that's on you. You know, like there's nothing at all I can do about that.
Oh,
You know, if we if you don't even show up, right? If we paid the kid Clutch and you don't even show up, that's what I did everything I could possibly do, you know.
right.
It really comes down to you can lead a horse to the lake, right? So how much responsibility does the cowboy or whoever leading the horse to the lake, how much responsibility do they have for the horse to drink the water? You know, that's sort of how I think about it. That being said, that 33% is real, because if I'm giving you trash matchups, you know, that's on me, right? I have to be able to have the eye to understand, okay, these matchups make sense, right? Like when we did Sammy Schemes versus Bobby Lee. right? That matchup made sense because they talk similar types of talk, but from a different perspective, right? And it's on Sammy to execute. It's on me to book a good match. It's on Sammy to execute, but the execution is way more important, I think, because I can set up something perfectly, and if you don't execute, you didn't earn 50%. People will EK's doing so many battles. People will not watch an EK battle versus somebody they don't know, unless it already has traction, right?
Makes sense. Makes sense. News, same thing to you, man, in terms of like the pie chart of development. Like, how much do you feel like yourself as a booker, like how much of that do you feel like is on you, and then how much do you feel like is on the actual battle rapper to execute?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, look, as a booker, look, I've never had an event that didn't cost any money. I'm going to say that, right? You also got to think my platform does not sell tickets. So the Rooftop is a lost leader. This will be the first to say that. I know that when I go into these events, until I figure out a YouTube strategy that's going to help me monetize further than I have been, this is a lost leader. You know what I mean? Until I figure that out, which is fine because I have a vested interest in wanting to film these type of battles. So I don't really sweat that because I know in the long run those other questions will be answered. Look, man, I can put you in position. I can either do one or two things: get you a matchup because you deserve it and invest in you, or put you in a position at least where you're on a good card with look if I put you on a good card where there's the who's who on top of it, or at least notable names, and you don't take advantage of that, or you don't take it seriously and cancel or whatever, I keep notes of that stuff. How much would I say is it on me? All I can do is book them, right? Do I think there's ways that a league can help its talent develop more? I see certain things like I see the free game guys have a sparring uh, Discord where they get in there and they spar all their shit for upcoming stuff. And I was in there the other day and I was sitting there thinking to myself, man, it'd be kind of a cool exercise if you had um, if you had a situation where, let's say, every 2 weeks, the talent that you book the most has to pull up the Discord with a 30 or 45-second round
Mm-hmm.
just to do it, non-specific for any opponent, whatever, just for the exercise of them writing something. I think stuff like that is stuff that, as a culture in your league, can be facilitated. But you have to have hungry rappers, and I feel like hungry rappers are going to do that anyways. Hungry rappers are going to write, maybe not every day, but they're going to write throughout the week. They just are. It's what they do.
That's
You
a
know what I
fact.
mean? So I feel like if you're trying to develop your stage presence, your voice, your cadence, the rhythm in which you speak, the way you present yourself, you're trying to develop those things. I don't think that's necessarily on a league owner. I think a league owner can um, help the talent that cares the most about that, and maybe help facilitate a time where they can pull up so the talent can feel supported to do something like that. But like, my job is to figure out something good for you, put you on a good card with people that people are going to pay attention to, and then from there you got to shine. You got to take advantage of that. You have to.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my next question is going to be about the requirements. Like, we could talk about what we think talent development is. We can talk about the strategies in booking, the history that we've had, booking battles and things like that. But the bare minimum, what requirements do you as a league owner feel like, if you want to be an effective in talent development as a league, what do you feel like are the requirements for you as the league owner? And then the second part of that is, as a league owner, what are the requirements that you need the battle rapper at the bare minimum? What do they need to be required? So the first part, K Phil, as a league owner, what are the requirements for you as a league owner you feel like to be qualified to develop said talent?
That's a good question. I haven't really thought about it that much from that side. I think one thing that has helped me in Shots Fired and Griffin in Shots Fired is we battled. Right? We made our own mistakes as battle rappers. Right? We made our own good decisions as battle rappers, that we can then use to sort of course correct for these other guys, right? It's like we did this so you didn't have to. One particular thing that rings in my mind is I remember when I was battling on the ride a lot, KP asked me, he said, "Who do you want to battle next?" And I was like, "I don't know, whoever." Like I didn't have a track in my mind of where I wanted to go, right? I just wanted to sort of show up and rap. So I think for people like that, right, as a league owner, you sometimes have to start that conversation with the battlers. You have to say, "Hey, man, what do you want to do, by the way?" Because not everybody is just going to come up to you and say, "Hey, Phil, this is really what I want to do, and how can you help me do that?" I think the league owner at some point does have to start the conversation there. I also think you have to maintain a good reputation, or else nobody's going to care about your battles that you're throwing. You can slow down, but you can't really stop. You have to stay active in some way, shape, or form. And I would say from the battlers, I have one requirement of my battlers. I have one. I really have two. I have one requirement of my battlers, and the first one is I want you to give a shit. Show me that you care somehow, some way. Show up to events that you're not booked at. That's a real easy way to show somebody you care, is to show up at an event that you're not booked for. I think the second thing would be to ask questions. I have some battlers who come up to me afterwards and they say, "Hey, man, I want your detailed feedback." And then I have some battlers that just sort of look at me from across the room, waiting for me to go up and say what's up to them. So they also need to take their own onus in that situation. But as I'm saying all of this, I realize I'm thinking super grassroots right now. I think realistically, if you are a battler who's trying to make it to the platform level, you have to be willing to put your own money up. If you're not willing to put your own money up, Newz said it. Leagues, platforms, we lose money. You lose money until you gain money. So like Shockwave's a great example of somebody who when he will put his own money up, he'll put his money behind something. I do want to answer Dev's question real quick. I did this recently. We booked somebody and he was the first battle of the night and people left. People were leaving. It was a bad look. So afterwards I called him and pretty much what I told him was, "Hey, you're plateauing, right? There's no progress here." Now with us doing what we do, I don't really ever want to let somebody go because they don't rap good. I'll let somebody go because they're stupid and bring negative attention, right? But what we decided to do with him is sort of do like one-on-one sessions where he'll write a 90-second round against nobody and he'll just rap it to me in a Zoom call or something. And then we can sort of go from there, so talent, which is almost similar to what Newz was saying with the free game guys in the Discord, right? So yeah, I actually did have that pretty tough conversation with somebody once, where it was like, "Hey bro, you're not getting better,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll answer that question too. I recently had to have this conversation with someone, literally like a month ago. And look, I think and I'll touch on this later because I know Nico gave us a list of questions that he would answer, and I kind of get into detail about this a little bit more up the road with one of the questions. But I think one of the conversations that's tough to have that needs to be have is how guys can become worth money, right? Because I had rapper A come to me and basically tell me that they needed X amount of money in an Airbnb, a place to stay. Now, I went back to rapper A's last 5 battles, and I called and got in touch with 3 of the promoters. And I said, that promoted his battle. I said, "Hey, how many people did they bring through the door? Did y'all have a pay-per-view for that? Did you see his name where anybody supported him, or did he post clip this one? And I gathered data first, and he had some numbers, right? I don't want to say they were astronomical or anything like that, but I took those numbers. I wrote down what the 3 league owners told me. This is how many people I saw him come through the door with. When we sold, the 2 of them sold pay-per-views. I said these were his pay-per-view numbers. And then I looked at the view count. And then I just added it up, and I was like, okay, based on how YouTube pays out, this person would be worth this much for me to pay them. And I broke down those numbers to them. And I said, look, you can look at it like those numbers are low. Those are just your current numbers. Those numbers can be improved upon. You can sell more pay-per-views by adding a sense of strategy and bringing a little bit more awareness to things, and maybe selling the pay-per-view from your own branding page is a little different. You can get more people through the door by maybe going into people's individual inboxes and asking them to support you. You can. So what I did was I was honest with him about, based on the numbers that I had, what it would be worth for me to pay him, and a way that he can improve each tier. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, as a promoter, you have to have that conversation with people, because if you don't, they just end up looking at you like it's going to lead to nowhere eventually. So I would rather have that honest conversation and them be like, "Fuck news, I still think I'm worth more," or they can walk away from it, which he did, and he hit me back a couple weeks later, and was like, "I appreciate that feedback because it gives me a roadmap." You know, I don't know that every rapper will be like him, but I know he was like that. You know, he appreciated the feedback because it gave him some sense of what to work on and how to do it. So, yeah, I've had those conversations with people. When you're booking events, you're gonna have that. Don't have a choice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, even if you're not booking battles, I advise everybody, be honest with people. You will become the bad guy, the villain, whatever they want to categorize it as. People will not like you. People will talk about you a certain way. You'll be in certain dialogue that might be a little uncomfortable, but if you care about somebody's development and you actually think somebody has talent, being honest with them is the only way that they're going to improve. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I asked about the requirements for the league owner and for the battle rapper. Now, obviously, they have to have the hunger. They have to want it. Those type of descriptions, but for you guys, is it a requirement for the person, the battle rapper, to have prior rap experience in order for you to develop them properly?
No, but it helps.
No, but it helps.
Okay.
If you've rapped on songs before, you're just inevitably probably going to be farther than someone, unless they did like spoken word poetry, right? But if you've done one of those two things, it's going to help for sure. But if you don't have it, things can be developed. Obviously, it's easier to develop when you have some sort of skill set walking into it. But it's not like if you don't have that, there's no way you could be dope ever. I don't believe that.
Yeah. There are battle rappers who, when I hear them rap their rounds, I don't hear any cadence. I barely understand where their rhymes are landing, and not a lot of people share that opinion with me. Some people are like, "Oh, that guy was so dope," and I'm like, I have a hard trouble even knowing what he's saying.
Mhm.
So I think the target audience is just so diverse. People are so willing to hear whatever in battle rap. I think as far as maybe a intention perspective, like what is their intention in being in battle rap? Because obviously this person doesn't just love rapping. Maybe they're trying to fall in love with rapping. But as it currently stands, if you don't rap, why would you want to join a rap competition? So, from like a logical perspective, it actually doesn't make very much sense why somebody would compete in something that they don't have experience in.
Yeah.
Like if I can't do yo-yo tricks, I'm not gonna join a yo-yo competition. I'm gonna sit in my room and practice my yo-yo at midnight. So it does beg certain questions if somebody has no rap experience, but it's acapella. It's a different game.
All right, my bad. I had to take a quick look at the template I sent y'all earlier. Want to make sure I'm asking everything that
No, you got most of
down.
them so far. I got it up here too.
Yeah. So the next portion, and this is where this actual topic started on the radio the other day. Salute to Foed Dev. Dev actually brought this up, and I actually have a whole opinion about this. But for you guys, let me start here. Do you feel like I've been around since 2017. So let's go 2017. Let's go around the start of the Western Conference. From that point to now, do you feel like talent development in the West is improving? Like it's positive right now, or do you feel like it has regressed?
In terms of quality,
you've been around
or
longer than me.
Like the overall quality. Like, do you feel like the quality that battle rappers are showing from this region, from the time that they have their quote unquote rookie year? Let's take, for example, we've had like the real name Brandons, we've had the Coffees, we've had the Dot Everythings, right? The outliers, the ones who stand out. Right. But then you have the rest of everybody, and that's the real pool that you're really looking at in terms of development.
Okay.
From the majority. Do you feel like the West is in a good place in terms of talent development, or do you feel like it is in a bad place? Like it's regressing. It's not in a good direction at this point.
Okay, I thought I had my answer. I'm glad you clarified, because I definitely have my answer. I think I don't think it's ever been better. I mean, we had like Bucks and D-Lo were fairly new guys who had a phenomenal battle on Westworld. You know what I mean? Kamikaze came out. He was fairly new. He was doing phenomenal. He battled Clutch on GTX, right? So it's like we have these new guys. Hansel's another really good example of this, actually. It's a little more dated because time has gone by. But Hansel showed up, and next thing you fucking know, he's battling next on Westworld, and they're having a classic battle, right? And now he's across URL stages. I think Next is another good example. Even though he's been around probably just as long as me almost now.
Right.
Like his talent development left the West, right? The West can only develop, and I think this is where people get it confused. The West can only develop your talent so much.
Talk about it.
We can only do so much. Just like for Shots Fired, we will pull some. We will plant a new battle rapper, right? Like Swook. We planted him. He never battled anywhere else before, right? We can plant him as a new battle rapper. Him being good enough to battle on Casual Conflicts or The Riot or Westworld or eventually URL or King of the Dot or whatever, that's up to him. I can only get him to what the Shots Fired ceiling is, right? And we do have a ceiling purposefully. We move how we move for our own personal reasons, right? So it's like our goal is to plant these battle rappers and then send them on to the next stage, right? The West at some point has to send you off to the next stage. And if you can't, I want to say this carefully because I don't want anybody to think I'm talking about them.
Oh, say it like it is, because I got about a handful of people I could call out right now that fit this narrative.
Because some of it is their fault and some of it's not their fault. Some of it's their fault, some of it's not their fault, right? Like somebody goes out of state where nobody knows them versus somebody that everybody knows and they're the first one rapping the whole night. You know how hard it is to be the first one rapping even when people know who you are? Nobody's heard no rap tonight. You're the first one. It's really tough to get that crowd going, you know? So as far as within the West, I think talent development is at its peak. As far as understanding how to transition battlers from the West to outside the West, that's somebody else's job. That's not my job, you know? That's G Will's job now. That's G Will's job. That's KP's job. You know, that's your guys' job. That's not my job, you know? So I got to get people to them, and then they got to understand how to get people to the next stage. effectively, right? Because I could send somebody to the riot just for them to get bodied. That's definitely an option, right? But if I don't communicate with KP or Geechee or whoever, hey, give my guy a matchup that makes sense so he can have a good battle on your platform, right?
Hey, News, man. It's same thing, same question for you, man. We gotta because you're a little bit newer, so you've been here, a few years now. From your perspective, since your arrival to now, do you feel like we're in a good place, a positive place, talent development, or do you feel like it's a little bit negative and we need to have some improvements to get it better?
I love where we're at. You know what I mean? You look, when I turn around and I see people create cards, one of the first things I say in the West is like, okay, the league owner has created a card that's got a bunch of people on it. And look, sometimes these cards don't have these huge headliners. It's still a chance to separate yourself in the pecking order. I don't need it to have B Magic or somebody at the top of it for every card. Some of these cards are just for development. And some of these cards, if you've been watching the ecosystems, they have people who've been doing a lot and building their name. Like guys that stick out to me right now are like Spazzo from what do you call it? From the Cookout. And who's the other one? Chip Kane. I'll watch these guys' highlights, then I'll go watch their battles. I'm like, that's cool. There's something there. They have something, and I can see if they add a little bit more, there's going to be even more for them to offer. That's cool. Okay, cool. So, and much like Phil said, too, like, look, man, I'm grassroots with it, bro. I'm going to give you a platform, and hopefully you put something through there that I can send to G Will or I can send to Nino and say, hey, look, man, I got this guy. He just did this. What are the chances I can get him over there on one of your cards as an opener or something like that? That's right. Look, man, I'll film the footage to get you to SummerSlam, but you got to fucking bring out the shooting star press and everything else when you get there. You understand?
Hey, some people, they need to be in the performance center just a little bit longer because look.
Oh, for sure.
On the listen, wrestling references. You talking about SummerSlam? That's for you talking about that's URL, King of the Dot, RBE, Chrome. That's that. We got to get you to the point where you're just ready to be on a platform like say iBattle or the Riot or Gates, like we are OSBL. We got to get you there first. Yeah. Like how K-Phil said, we got to get you to a point where you develop as much as you're going to be here. Your next level for development is outside of here. I feel like so many times we try to send people from here directly to the league. Listen, NBA don't accept high schoolers no more for a reason. High school, you gotta go to college. You got to work in college first before you can get to the league. You got to show something at the level in between. You know what I'm saying? So I think in the West that's very important.
If you don't have a classic on your grassroots platform or a couple of bodies.
Hold on. As the league or the battle rapper?
As the battle rapper. If you don't have a classic on your platform or a couple of bodies on that platform to where I could justify sending it to somebody so that they can look at it and see that your talent is that obvious and it's able to probably open a show at least. We shouldn't have that conversation yet. I get guys' impulses though.
That verbiage is a little strong. News. A classic. The classic is Danny versus B-Dot. Like there's not a lot of people walking around with classics.
They're tough to have.
Real quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
So I think this goes back to a question you asked earlier, Nico, about what responsibility does the league play in talent development, right? Where it's like, if I can't book Danny Myers, then I can't give you a chance to prove yourself to these other platforms to actually go out there and get a good showing, right? If I can't book you anything better than what this league will eventually be able to offer, then that's on us. Then we're stunting talent development, right? Because the formula is bring them up to the shots fired ceiling, give them a premium look that justifies other leagues or platforms saying, all right, we'll take a chance with this guy,
Yeah. And I like that formula. That makes a lot of sense because you have benchmarks to look at now,
Right.
Now, I honestly, I wish we had the time, and I wish we had debated because really the talent development, to me, that topic, it needs to be broken down with what is a league and what is a that's the real conversation, because I seen that post and it took everything in my power not to try to cook some of what I seen on it. The commentary was driving me crazy. I was like, wait a minute. We got to identify what the platforms really are, what the leagues really are, and then the hierarchy by which we see these leagues, because I think every league is not created equal. And I think sometimes in the West, a negative thing I see is we try to make everything on the same playing field. And it's just not. Every league is not the same. And it's okay. Some leagues have the resources to do more. Other leagues might not, but they have the means to maybe create more events. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're the league where, okay, you can get to the ceiling here. Here's the next league where you can develop if you wanted to stay over here further and develop at this new league. And then, okay, now you've been at this league. Okay, now the next league. I feel like that conversation needs to be had, but we can't have that today. That's gonna be another show, and I'm bringing both of y'all back for that show because we're gonna cook on that.
Yeah,
Hey, Phil, you especially K Phil. You know what I'm saying?
I thought his post was pretty accurate because I'll tell you something right now. It drives me crazy when people call me a league. I'm about as platform as you get. You know what I mean? When people call me a league, it literally drives me nuts. It's like it was not remotely what I was setting out to. That was the opposite of what I wanted, to be quite honest with you. I set out to be a platform. So when I'm recognized as a platform, I appreciate that so much more because, you know, the talent development and things like that, there's aspects to being a league. How many times you go up? Is there a culture within your ecosystem? Is there, you know what I mean? A platform and a league are two totally different things. So when I'm recognized as a platform, it's like the fucking highest level of appreciation to me because that's exactly what I wanted to be recognized at over being a league for sure.
Okay. So my next question in this, in terms of talent development, um, years like this where we're 5.5 months into the year, a lot of people are saying, well, hey, looks like this is a down year. Looks like this year we're not getting the kind of battle rappers that we've had. And a part of that is we are spoiled. If you look at a 5 to 10 year run of the West, every year we had somebody who right now is looked at as a star, right? Yeah. If you go from 2012 to now, every year you look at it, somebody is prominent from that particular year. Going all the, even you look at 2011, I mean, Yak the Ripper, you got the next year, Dre Vicious, next year, Kid Clutch, you got RP Young B the Future. I mean, you got B Dot during that time. I mean, Geechee pulls up in 2014, and you get Grizz in 2015. You get every year you just see it. 2017, we have Coffee. You get Real Name Brandon, Dot everything. It's like every year I feel like we got spoiled until we got to around, I would say, 2019, 2020. That's when it was like, okay, now we're starting to see it kind of level out. And now you have like your Hansel. He's made a prominent run, a Justice. But I think a lot of people feel like if you're not getting these Juice, rest in peace to Juice, if you're not seeing that, if I'm not seeing Madman Leak, then it's a down year. Where's that all the development? For years like this, in terms of talent development, where do you find yourself as a league owner? Newz, I'll start with you on this one. Where do you find yourself as a league owner in a down year like this? Where do you find yourself looking to develop talent? Is it more so with existing talent that has already been on your platform, or do you go out and search for battlers that people may not know and try to highlight and develop them on your platform?
One of the unique things that's happened for me because of I'm doing such a different style of battle. One of the things that was important to me as a platform was I wanted, when you come to the Rooftop News channel, for you to see battles in different settings with different styles of filming. You know, take away the traditional battle in the venue or on a basketball court or something like that, and maybe give you some extra sense of like cinematography added to it. That's what was important to me, and that's the videographer in me is thinking like that because I do that for a living. So I look at battle rap so much different with the things I'm gonna put through my channel. You guys are gonna see like I'm really, really, really gonna push the envelope and boundaries of how you view battle rap, even from a cinematography standpoint, for sure. I'm gonna push these, and I think it's gonna come with some resistance, and I'm ready for that. But I'm gonna really push these boundaries. So for me, I say that to say one of the things that's happened, I think, because I'm a specialty battle platform, I get guys who had probably never thought of themselves in the position of battling on a rooftop, wanting to have that as a part of their catalog. Like, it's weird. It's wild to me that, like, I've met so many battlers that are great that I've never even heard of just because they reached out to me to see footage for a chance to be on the roof. So I think because I'm doing something a bit more unique, I don't know even if that's the right word, or off the beaten path, I'll say. I think because I'm doing something that's a little bit off kilter, those that want to try their hand at doing this art in another way in a different setting are just find themselves reaching out to me. And so for me, I haven't had to go look as much. Like when I build these rooftop cards, bro, I'm starting with probably 40 MCs that have hit me up within the last like 3-4 months. And then I'm shaving it down to what I think will be the essence of that particular edition. You know what I mean? But I would say a good 80% of what I'm sifting through are guys that have built their names in other regions that just don't have nationwide notoriety, asking me to come be on this platform. So I think for me, it's different, right? Than a league. I think it's much different because of the type of battle I'm presenting. You know, it piques interest of certain people because they're like, well, I don't know if I could get that type of battle in my region or on this coast, so I'd be willing to go to him to get it. So that's a problem I haven't encountered, and I can only like speak from my perspective on that one, you know, because it is a unique perspective because I am presenting unique type of battles, you know.
Absolutely. Kay, Phil, the same kind of question to you. With a year like this, where many people look at it as a down year, for you as the league owner, how do you look to develop talent? Do you look to just find those who have already been on your platform who may have plateaued and just try to get them to the next place? Are you going elsewhere and kind of recruiting? Like, what are you looking for in years like this where there's not the quote unquote star out there right now?
Yeah, I would say for us, and then this is gonna be my last answer. I'm gonna have to go. But for us, we look for brand new battlers. I want to look for a brand new battler who's never done this before, you know, and I want to see if I can bring them to light. The other avenue I'll take is people who are getting swept under the rug that are really dope, you know, but for whatever reason they're not getting booked on cards. And I'm guilty of this too, where we'll book. I mean, so June 22nd is coming up. This is going to be our largest card in a few years. You know, all of our previous cards are 4 battles, 5 battles, 6 battles at most. You know? So just due to our limited spots, we haven't been booking a lot of people that we actually enjoy. You know, we enjoy their art. We enjoy what they bring to the table. So we've been sort of passing up on over them. So on these down years, I look for people who we've passed up on before, or look for brand new talent. And to address Billy's question real quick, we talked about that a little bit earlier. I don't know if you were here for the whole stream.
Yeah, no,
She's getting hungry. I appreciate the conversation. Let me know when we're doing the platform versus league because I can talk about that all day long.
very soon.
Yeah, shots fired. K Philosophy. June 22nd. Keep your eyes peeled. I'm out of here. Appreciate y'all.
Definitely appreciate K Phil pulling up, man. West Connect. Yeah, there's actually a good place to kind of close out here. Usually I end most of my interviews when I was doing interviews asking people, you know, what's one thing you like to improve with the West? Like, what's one good thing you want to see more of, and then what's one negative thing you want to see less of? To keep it on the theme of the topic being talent development news. What's one thing you think is going well in the West in terms of talent development that you would like to see more of? And then the second half of that is what's something you've seen in the West in terms of talent development that has been a negative that you want to see less of?
I think one of the things that I love that's happening, like I'll just spout off some names. You got Toys, we're tired of your shit battle league up there in Oakland. You got the Grizz exam. Whenever free game wants to pop out, you got them. They don't really host as many events. You got casual conflicts. You got I Evolve. You got Cali Smooth's League pops out every now and again. You got Westworld. You got Shots Fired. You got the Rooftop. You got CRS. If you can't get a plate in California, you're not even trying. Like, my God, it's just like there's never been a time right now that if you wanted to perform this art, there's opportunity not just for you to do it close to where you're at, but damn near in every part of the region. You know what I mean? So that's what I love, and I hope that that's a thing that keeps happening. One thing that I would like to see improve is conversation with leagues to the battle rap audience and the battlers about how they can improve their metrics to get paid. I think until we can figure out a way where guys clearly understand why leagues pay out and what metrics they need to improve to be worth payment, guys are only going to want to do this for 2 to 4 years because there's no way for them to figure out how to monetize it. You know, when they go to a league and they battle, they don't own that content. The league owns that shit from now on, right? You can rap those raps at a party or something like that, whatever, or at a spoken word show, but you can't ever go sell them because you've already put them somewhere to be owned, right? So until guys can have a clear-cut understanding of pay-per-view metrics, door metrics, YouTube views, et cetera, and how to increase those. I'd like to see more education on how the battle rappers can improve their metrics to start getting paid, because I feel like if there was an emphasis on them understanding what that stuff is, they'd stick around longer and not just work on their raps, but also work on the outside things. I can't tell you how many times I've booked a battle rapper that shakes the building and everyone loves them, but I can't get them to share a fucking flyer, or I can't get them to push, somebody going to buy their ticket on Cash App before the event because it's $5 cheaper, right? Thus, they would probably get more people through the door, because the people can get the ticket at a cheaper price. You see what I'm saying? So, like, I would educating the battle rappers on every aspect that makes them a good partner to the league, and a partner that can eventually grow to have some sense of monetary value where they can get paid. It's a conversation that has to be had. It just has to be. I think if we're going to expect generations of people to want to do this, they're going to have to be educated on how they can improve their value to become paid artists.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely, man, this has been a good conversation, good way to bring back the West Connect show. This show, I know a lot of you have been probably watching, like, man, where's all the theatrics and everything? The whole purpose of the West Connect show is to have the nuanced conversations about the West scene and the intricacies and the things that we really don't talk too much about until it's too late, or until it's some way, okay, this person's had the worst performance, they had to get bodied, and now we just cast them away. And it's like, well, what's the actual conversation that needs to be had there? What's the development, the booking, you know what I'm saying, the right card placement, things of that nature. So that's what this is for. And really to bring the entire West together. The whole point is to have all states everywhere, all 8 states, now 9 states that make up the Western Conference, is to have a representative from all these different places come here, have that nuanced conversation, get in detail with everything, and be able to talk about this so we can all build, as a region together. So this was part 1 in the talent development series. The next one we will be streaming this Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. We will have Mike Masters, you know what I'm saying? Gabino Grimes will be pulling up, as well as D-Boss, UBR will be here. So now we will get to the Utah and New Mexico and their scenes of what they're doing and be able to talk about this talent development a little bit further. But as for tonight, man, news, hey, Phil, I know he's not here, but man, I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to talk about this. Before we get out of here, news, plug everything that you have going on. Let the people know where they can find your channel on YouTube, your social media, all of that.
Definitely. And first and foremost, I want to say thank you for creating this dialogue. It's our long-standing media out here. This is, a giant portion of what we rely on you for, not just rankings and things like that, but to create conversations so that we can, strengthen the culture and not just let things fly by, you know what I mean, without being spoken about. The Rooftop Series Volume 3 just happened in San Francisco, April 14th. Hansel versus Joe Maggi will be dropping over the next 2 weeks. I'll be putting some promo out on Instagram, Rooftop_News TV, for y'all to check out on there, as well as some photos so you can relive the event. Hansel versus Joe Maggi was the headliner for Rooftop Series Volume 3. So be on the lookout on my YouTube page, Rooftop News_TV, or Rooftop News_TV on both Instagram and YouTube. You'll see tons of highlights, photos, and things like that from the event. And I will be dropping the flyers for Rooftop Series Volume 5, which will take place in Phoenix, Arizona, October 22nd on Sunday. I'll be dropping that information and those flyers probably end of August, early September for you guys. Wait till you see this card.
Talk about it, man. Talk about the suspense. We waiting until the end of August, man. You know what I'm saying? That's my birthday time. Man. You might have to announce it on my birthday, man. I might need to hear about something by then.
We might have to do a special rollout. Might have to do it.
Listen, man. That's what we here for. We here for that. But man, I appreciate everybody taking the time. If you can, before you guys exit, man, please hit the like. Appreciate everybody for rocking out in the chat, sending your comments. Definitely, I seen some of you guys were adding your commentary. If there's ever a question that you guys want us to talk about here, if you want me to ask them a question, man, I'll ask it for you guys. Definitely appreciate you guys being a part of this. West Connect show is back, and this show will be a weekly show. Now we're starting off this series. You're going to get a lot more streams, but this will turn into a weekly show, 1 day a week. That's the idea. So definitely appreciate everybody rocking out. Your boy NicoTV, Voice of the West. Appreciate you guys pulling up. As always, keep it battle rap, keep it West. We are out of here.
Yeah.